Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Talk, where the conversations are on 10 and our personalities are on 100. Today, we're going to be talking about season 11, episode 6, part 2 of the honeymoon. Super excited to get into it. And the episode starts in a happy note, aka with Woody and Amani. So I'm really excited to get into this episode. So Woody and Amani, they wake up. They're just so cute, brushing their teeth. What do you guys feel about their like cute little back and forth, making fun of each other with their funky breath? I thought it was great. I loved it.
Adorable. That's all. They're so cute.
I agree. They are like the cutest thing ever. Like y'all can make the show with them and then
For
throw
real.
in like Bennett and Amelia. I'd be just fine with that. We can cut this to 30 minutes. We don't need 2 hours. 30 minutes. It could be them, Bennett and Amelia. I'm good to go.
Those episodes do be long. I'll be like, okay.
Anyways, I need to stop lusting after Amani's husband because Amani is such a girl's girl, and I really am starting to really like her. And stop laughing, Sabrina. And I really, really enjoyed like the scene where Brett and Olivia came over, and again, Amani's like standing up for Olivia the way she was like kind of standing up for Karen, and you could just tell she just
She was
wants
so
everyone to be
protective.
happy. Yeah,
When Brett tried to wink at her, she was like, "Don't wink at me." Like she was like, "That ain't cute." And I was like, "I feel you, Monty. We feel you, because he ain't cute. That ain't cute. None of it's cute. Don't play with her like that."
she's like nice and kind, but she's a straight shooter. Like, don't get fooled by how I'm talking, how I'm moving. I will come at you. Like, don't think it's cute because ain't nothing sweet. Absolutely like enthralled when Amelia started playing her guitar and singing her song to
I
Bennett.
loved the song. Like it was so cute, and like it was really pretty. Like her voice is pretty, and I was just like, I also like to write songs from time to time, and I wish I could play an instrument, but like. I remember, I think it was Shadai who said it when we were watching it. He was like, okay, no, I think it was Shamar. He was like, okay, so what instrument she gonna pull out to play this song?
Shamar.
I think it was super cute, and it was a good song, and she actually had vocals. I was like, okay.
Yes.
He had the little foot tapping. He was feeling it too. But I like that. You know how when you ask about exes, it could get kind of murky. But with them, it was more of a like using it as a reference point rather than just being nosy. It was just like, what kind of things do you consider like sweet or like endearing? And he was like simple things, everyday things that shows me that you care.
I also really like the lyrics. The part where she was like, I met a stranger and then I didn't see him again, and then she stopped. She was
She
like,
was like,
interesting.
right, I loved it. It was so fitting. She was like, oh yeah, that's ironic.
It's like every time they're on the screen, I just smile. And it was cool too when she kind of asks Bennett to lead her in love because she's not really experienced in that. And she's like, I just want you to kind of like lead me to where you want me to go and I'll follow. Because she is kind of an alpha female and she is like, I am cool with making the money, take my last name, all that. She still was like letting him be like, okay, well, you lead in this area, which I thought was
And
dope.
more like it's more interesting to me. And like Lacey, I'm smiling the whole time they on the screen. I'm smiling the whole time Woody and Imani are on the screen. Everybody else, I'm watching the show. Um, I'm watching the show.
So I want to ask Sabrina this question because Amelia and Bennett were talking about how they're in a honeymoon stage and how they feel like they're not sure if it's going to continue. And I just want to ask, do you feel like the honeymoon stage is a state of mind, or do you feel like there's really a such thing as the honeymoon stage?
There really is a such thing as the honeymoon stage because you don't have outside stressors. Because even like me and my husband get along like for real, for real. We have fun. Like everybody always talk about how marriage is so hard, and I just be looking like it ain't that deep. Like we really just be chilling. Like we be laughing. We've been together super long, but it doesn't feel like, oh Jesus, you still here. We like still be excited to see each other. But there were a lot more the more stressors you add to a situation, the more you bicker over things that you're not really like mad about. And then it also gets frustrating because I actually like my husband. So when I can't like spend certain amount of time with him or when we super busy, then we start getting irritated at each other. I'll be irritated at him because I miss him and I'll be mad at myself. I'm like, I don't like people. Like why? And then I'm like, why are you over here? I ain't seen you in like 2 days. Why are you over here? And you be like, why are you mad? I'm like, because I missed you and I'm irritated.
Oh, Sabrina.
Sabrina gives me hope, okay? Because sometimes I look at people's marriages and it just makes me be like, maybe I'll just stay single. I'll be the cute auntie. I'll be the auntie that like takes people places and buys them nice gifts and lives
The quad.
because the way some of these people's marriages is set up, no, thank you.
That's actually true though. Like we have been in those situations where we've been like with other couples talking about things and it's just very weird because everybody else seems to have all these issues and then they start to question me about why I actually like my husband. Oh, because I'm like, he perfect. And they're like, he not perfect. I'm like, for me, he is. Like, because he don't be doing nothing. He just be chilling. Like, give him a comic book, tell him go sit over there.
He's fine. Feed him.
And that's all he needs.
Okay, I thought it was really interesting how Bennett and Amelia are already each other's like legal power of attorney. And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, like I get that you're going into this with a real commitment, you're taking this seriously, but that's another level. And I'm like, do you know what that means? Do you know what weight that
they
is?
They can pull the plug on you? That was
yes, like if you're in a coma, if Amelia's in a coma and Bennett gets to decide whether they take her off the coma or whether she stays on life support for longer. Do you feel like that's too much power to give someone you just met?
That's a big commitment. That's a big commitment to marriage. I don't care. That's a lot.
I don't know. That's a level of trust that I don't even think that you can be at in a year. Like I think you need time to be like life or death. And you gonna choose? Like, what you think, Sabrina?
Well, my husband signed over his power of attorney and put me on all his accounts like super fast. He's still not on any of my accounts, so I don't know what that means.
Super fast in the dating stage or super fast in the marriage?
We got married after 5 months. So, like, I guess, like, we were married, but we really, like, because y'all know, even when we were married, it's not like he was staying over. Like, we went on dates, like, every week or whatever, but we was just, like, chilling, and we got married, and I didn't really know him. And I still didn't live with him after we got married. But anyway, I didn't live with him for a year after we got married.
Sabrina is clearly non-traditional as hell.
When he goes places, he signs over his power of attorney to me. And he used to sign it to his mother, but when we got married, he just started signing it to me. But me, because of the way I am and I don't trust people like that, I did not put him on my stuff. But it was one of my things to agree to like go into the marriage that I have to know everything you do. Just because men are sneaky. So I have to know everything.
That part. Something Sabrina taught me. She said, don't go and move into no man's house until you got a social security number, his address, his bank information, his doctor information, his medical records, how to get access to things. Don't move in his house.
And don't put your name on nothing. Do not go half. Don't put your name on the lease. If you decide to leave, you should be able to pack it up and exit, and all the stuff is still in his name. Because you have stuff to fall back on. You got a job, you got a career, you have your degree, you smart, you got a family. So if you want to leave a situation, you should just be able to exit out. Your name ain't on nothing, and he liable for everything.
Stage left.
Love it. Okay, so What do you guys think about like love language is like a general idea? Because I thought it was cute as well when Bennett and Amelia were talking about kids and like just their childhood. And Bennett said that his mom made them pay for things and kisses, which is, very opposite of our childhood. But I was like,
Yo.
I was like, wow. So if you want to go outside to play, you give your mom 150 kisses. That is like the most cute thing ever, and like normalizes affection, I feel like, in such a healthy, amazing way. So because of that, do you feel like, say Amelia wasn't affectionate, do you feel like it would be a problem with Amelia not being affectionate and Bennett being so normalized to affection by his mom and the kiss currency, as he called it?
Yeah, it's like when I noticed that when was this Miles was talking about Karen, he was talking about how he holds back to even hug her because he knows that they're not at that place yet because he's an affectionate person, and so he's like, sometimes I just want to hug her, but I don't because I don't want to make her uncomfortable, which is great. You should always, want consent, whatever. But like, I felt bad for him because he just wanna show love.
I feel like a hug is like another level. Like it's not that deep, I feel like just try, ask her, because I'm big on consent as well. I'm an advocate for sexual assault survivors. It's what I do for a living. But hug the lady, give her a hug, touch her on the knee, put your arm around her, do something.
Not her knee.
Help her break through a little bit, because like a hug, my guy, like it ain't that deep. What you think, Sabrina?
Well, again, I'm going to just like kind of use myself as an example because my husband's super affectionate and I'm super not, especially in public. And sometimes you just have to compromise it. So, like, you just have to have those conversations. I think it's one of those things too where Miles has to have that conversation with her where you don't have to be aggressive, but you can say things like, "Is it okay if I hold your hand?" Or like, especially if he's so timid because he doesn't want her to run. So I do think it's good for him to constantly be looking for consent. But if you're going to be doing that and you're not confident to just go forth and hold her hand, then y'all need to have that conversation and he needs to tell her that, I'm not trying to pressure you into like super intimacy, but I do want to be able to hold my wife's hand when we go places. Is that okay? And I'm sure she would say yes, because holding hands is not that deep, even though she acted like she didn't want to hold his hand in the wedding pictures. But anyway,
Yeah,
that was
because
another
when
episode.
they woke up in the morning, when they got up super early, like 8:30, and they like went out and they were going about, like she was super energetic. They were joking. They had a good back and forth conversation. The comfort level really seemed there. So I feel like both of them just need to be better at communicating overall. So Shaddai has stepped into the chat. So Shaddai, I want you to touch on just the scene with Ben and Amelia, the guitar, them talking about their childhood, all that good stuff.
Okay. The scene with Bennett and Amelia, I think it was very nice. I really liked Amelia's song. I think it's very true about how infatuation goes. Like you fall, in love with like the idea of someone because you don't really know them at the time. So like, and she like at the end of the song it says, "You stay perfect if we never meet again." But I think that's not going. I don't think what Amelia and Bennett have is infatuation. I think genuinely care about each other. So I don't think it's gonna just fade out when they get to know each other on a deep level.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I thought it was super interesting how Amelia was saying how her family was very free flowing and her parents kind of just let her do what she wanted to do, go to the neighbor's house. They're very trusting of strangers, etc. And that made me think back to when Tisha and Sabrina were talking about their childhood and how they could go throughout the neighborhood and it wasn't really an issue versus how it kind of is now. What do you guys think? Even though you should never tell someone else how to raise their kids, but what do you guys think about Amelia wanting to raise children that are safe and comfortable with strangers.
That I did turn to like kind of just like I was like, listen, I understand that you want them to be like kind and compassionate people and to be comfortable, but like it's a matter of safety. Like they need to be their safety is more important than them being comfortable with everybody that they look at. Like that's how I feel about that.
Like I think they're living a little bit in a fairy tale land where they think that somehow you can just be like love and light with everybody, and but I also think it depends on what kind of situation you put yourself in.
I feel like it's just like very idealistic, and it's like, but not everything's like that. So like you still have to make these plans for the real world and in the state that it is in.
Yes, it's very like utopia. Like there's not thousands of kids that go missing every single day. Like we don't have a huge problem with pedophiles and sick people in this world for you to just be like, oh, I'm super comfortable with my kids just going here, there, everywhere. Like, let's be nice, let's be love and light and positive, and let's trust, but let's also have a brain. So we have just had another sibling join Tin Talk, Samuel. We're still relatively in the beginning. So we have currently touched on Bennett and Amelia, Amelia playing the guitar and her song, them talking about their childhood, the kiss currency. We talked about how they want to raise their kids. We talked about just a little bit of like morning routine between Woody and Amani. Sam, do you want to touch on any of that stuff, or are we good to move on?
I would just like to say that my kids are going to be outside and outside of the house, doing whatever outside and outside the house means, just like I was, because I don't think the world is any more dangerous now than it was when I was a kid. I think it's just more publicized and it's more information that's available. It's more obvious. It's more talked about, but I don't think the world's any more dangerous. And so my kids will be outside. But other than that, we cool. I feel like Woody should brush his teeth more than just in the morning. But, the way he brushes is very aggressive, so I'll give it to him.
They're not the same thing. But anyways, let's move on to Karen and Miles talking about his depression. That was a scene that I was kind of expecting to be really heavy from the previews, and it actually wasn't as sad as I thought it was going to be. But one thing I did notice that bothered me was the fact that Karen linked his depression to his masculinity, and I didn't like that. And I don't think that someone's depression has anything to do with their masculinity at all. And I think that she was dead wrong for that. Even though I always have Karen's back, she was dead wrong for that.
I was so mad about that. Like I was watching it, and like I was a little upset at her initial reaction because she was just sitting there like, oh, like you have depression, like oh. So I was already a little like, okay, that was a little, and then she's gonna talk about some, yeah, I wanted a really strong man, and he has depression, like it's not a whole mental illness, like, yeah. So I was upset with that. I was like,
super whack.
And this is why men say that we can't be honest about our emotions. This is why men say that. Or when women say, you can talk to us about your problems, whoop, 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 we're like, no, we can't. Because then we do, and we become punks.
The patriarchy affects men and women. Like, that's just how it is. Like, it places this expectation on men to be here, have everything together, never need help from anybody or nothing. And then so now men have these stereotypes, these ideas pushed on them by men and women. So like, because that's how the patriarchy is set up.
And I also think that it's a lot of like unlearning that we have to do, because for me, I actually think it's more manly that he was like, I had an issue and I went to go correct it and I got help for it and I have it in check, and now I'm communicating that to you, my new wife. And then the thing I did like that she did, I didn't like much in the conversation. I'm just gonna be honest. I was like lightweight, hecka irritated the whole time that they were having the conversation, because she just looked uninterested in having that conversation. And I feel like when somebody is telling you their deep thoughts, you should at least have the decency to be looking them in the eye. And that's what I like about Amelia and Bennett. They're all, when they're talking about serious things, they are always talking to each other. But she seemed to not even really be paying attention. But not only did he seek help, he got help. He has it under control, but he also recognizes his issue. The thing I liked about it is she asked how to approach him when he's having these feelings. So I thought that was nice part of it, where he was
Mm-hmm.
just like, when you're in this method or mode, how do I approach you? And do you communicate that to me? Are you just negative? Are you silent? Because she doesn't know how to deal with someone who is probably like dealing with depression. She probably dealt with it and people don't get help. So it might come off as toxic masculinity, which she's used to. Like, instead of talking about their issues, they go outside of the house. They go have outside babies. They start arguments. So you might have dealt with depression, you didn't know it was depression, but here is a man sitting in front of you telling you, here's my issues, and you're my wife, so I just wanted to let you know ahead of time so you're not surprised. Get what would happen if he would have kept that to himself and just came at her sideways one day, or didn't
Right.
want.
Yeah, I
Because I
definitely
would
agree.
I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. Like, but I'm not gonna talk about it. No, no, no. It was like the fact that he actually was strong enough in himself to say something, because a lot of people attribute mental illnesses to mental weakness, and so that's also even more for men, because it's like anything that's perceived as weakness for men is extra weak for us because we're not supposed to be weak. So the fact that he was able and strong enough to tell her, like, hey, like, I go through things. Like, I got this issue. I'm working through it. I'm continuously working through it. I've been working on it for a while. Like, and this is just the way that I am, and this is how you can help me in these times.
And I also think that it was good that he explained it and was like, the reason that I'm so open about it is because I want other people to feel like it's okay to be open about it. Like, that's another aspect of being selfless. He was like, I could bottle all, because we're taught to be strong, we're taught to be this, but I felt like in order for other people to not feel bad about being vulnerable, I had to first learn how to be vulnerable. So I'm like, that's even a better characteristic. And the fact that she was just
Definitely.
so nonchalant about it, like, it's a big deal. Like, yes, she was like, thank you for sharing, but no, this is a big deal. Like, he is really, like, that is a hard thing to do for anybody, especially a young black man. He's only 26, and for him to, and he's on national TV, and there's camera crews around, and you're already looking at him like he's weak. You already have kind of been standoffish. So I feel like she didn't. I wanted her to be more involved in the conversation and actually have a conversation with him. I was really irritated, honestly.
I told
Yeah,
you I've been anti-Karen since episode 1. I just something about
I
her
was
just don't sit with me. It just don't sit with me. She's beautiful, and I think that's what makes it worse. She's so beautiful. I want to like her so bad, and it's like everything she does just irritates me. Just everything.
Yeah, that was not okay. And I just want to make a comment, like, if you or anyone you know is like dealing with a mental illness or dealing with someone or dealing with something, definitely don't feel like it's a problem to seek out help or to seek out someone, a professional that can talk to you, support groups, filling out what it is that you need as a person, because you're not alone in this. There's so many resources out there available, and don't feel like you have to deal with it alone, for sure, for sure. Does anyone have any comments on that before we move on?
Just want to encourage people to make sure that um, they're just aware of all the different services people can have, where it's just a phone call to a perfect stranger, just so you don't have to feel like someone's going to judge you after the fact, after you open up, because they literally don't know you from Adam. So just to like never feel like there's an excuse to why you can't talk to somebody about an issue that you're going through.
Yeah, definitely. See, we don't only just joke. We also have great hearts, people. Okay, so let's move on to Olivia and Brett talking about what?
Oh, I was just talking about how the whole like that whole conversation kind of made me like think to myself, has Karen ever said why she thinks she would be a good wife or why she personally thinks she is ready for marriage? Because I'm trying to remember, because she just says dating in New Orleans sucks, and that's why she wants to get married. So I'm trying to figure out like why she really wants to.
You see this lean in? You see this lean in?
When I tell you that was worth the unmute and that was worth the pause, because that was a word. Who want to take up offering? Anybody want to take up offering?
Collection plate because me, Sam, and Sabrina all said.
Right, hit the benediction. Hit the benediction. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go.
What was her qualifications? What did she say would make her? I really want to rewind to the matchmaking special now.
I don't know.
I need an answer.
But you know, that's a good point, because we always looking at like what makes the man think he qualified, what makes him ready to be a husband, and Shaddai was like, what made her qualified to be a wife? And I was like, that's a word. I didn't ever like the patriarchy, like Leilani said, is real.
I'm telling you, it be these people that's still in school. They be getting all these terms, all these words, all this education. Y'all be reading books, okay? Y'all be in AP literature, just over here reading people. I love it. It's amazing. I'm kind of dusty and just a alcoholic. No, just kidding. So let's see. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Shaddai real fast though. Hold on. I want to pick you back up, Shaddai. And then Sabrina also with the patriarchy. It's like crazy because it's like Sabrina said, we always know what makes the man ready for marriage, because men are always perceived as immature or, they just not ready to commit. But it's like no one ever questions when a woman is getting married. It's like, oh well, is she open and honest? Does she cook? Does she have a good credit score? Can she fix the front door? Does she know how to
First of all, can the man cook? Because we're not going to be over here enforcing traditional.
He's saying he's not enforcing them. He's saying that's what society says.
You focused on one thing, and I said fix the door. I said do an oil change, but you focused on food.
Because
that's
what society expects. He was not saying that's what he
not as a qualification. Now I'm a cook because I like to eat, but don't be thinking I'm about to be Betty Crocker in this thing, okay? Because I'm not.
He wasn't saying that's what he expects out of a woman, or that's what a woman's for. He's saying that's what society expects. Like,
anyways,
why y'all coming at me?
She don't like Brett. She don't like me. We not worried about her.
I love you, okay? Deep in my heart.
Love, like, two different things.
I'm just saying, no, we just need to look at both sides and be like, are these people ready for marriage? Not is this man ready or is this woman ready, but are these people as individuals ready to sacrifice being an individual and ready to be a couple with somebody else? That's what we need to start focusing on. And I'm done.
We also need to start focusing on, are you ready to get your feelings hurt? It's a part of life. Grow up. Everybody's like, I'm trying to protect my heart. Then if you constantly looking to protect your heart, do not go through this process. Like, go to therapy first, work on yourself so that something like a breakup doesn't break you, and go through the process. And you have to be vulnerable in order to go through this process. If you're constantly thinking, I don't want to get hurt, stay home. Just, bubble boy or bubble girl yourself. Go watch a movie. Netflix is on. Hulu is available.
Olivia
Disney Plus is
there. You can do it.
I was really going to be like, Olivia did that exact thing. So Olivia was chilling with her cats and her friends and working on herself.
Speaking of Olivia and Brett, who I hate, what do you guys think about the conversation when they started discussing Olivia's job? Because Sabrina and Tisha did bring up that they thought it was going to be an issue that Olivia made more money. And by Brett's reaction, what does the family think?
He was chilling. He was like, bet, period. Make money. Go ahead.
Samuel, I see a little bit of contention in the face. What do you think?
I just need to wait more than one episode because this is something that will be revisited because this is a major plot point in just any relationship, like the finances and where we're living. That's that's the basics of being together, I think. Where are we going and how are we paying for it? So I think it's gonna pop back up, but the initial reaction for Brett kind of came off like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm not. That's you can make more money. Like that's okay. Like I'm not worried about the money that you're making, but it didn't sound confident. It was almost like
he seemed a little worried.
like it's like I don't mind the fact that you make more money, but if you come in here thinking that you're gonna make decisions because you make more money, I'm still the man, and I just don't know how that
Because
dynamic's
Brett
gonna
is
work.
a liar.
Brett was lying.
Oh my god.
So I just I don't think he's okay with it. I don't think he's okay.
Also,
Brett
he
was
seemed a
not
little bit
okay.
judgmental about Olivia's lifestyle habits. She's like, yeah, I like to go on vacations. I like to spend my money because I make my money. And he was like, nah, I'm good off that. Like he seemed a little standoffish on that too.
Because
He's
he's
the
broke
type
and
of
can't afford to travel.
Yep, he's the type of dude that instead of elevating and realizing that this is a partnership and there's compromise and we can do things together, he's the type of dude that's going to try to bring you down to his level instead of elevating himself or compromising. So instead of him being proud that his wife makes more money and they can do these things, or even if he has to be like, okay, I'll sacrifice here so we can do these vacations that she like to do. We might not be able to do 4, but we could do 2. Or, we can do this. It seemed like he was more like, no, I need to bring you down to my level instead of realizing that, no, there's a compromise. Okay, she likes nice wines. You might be like, okay, let's have a nice dinner at home then. We can buy your expensive wine. I will cook for you because I think he said somewhere he know how to cook. So he can learn how to cook the 4-course meal. She likes different things. Like there's a compromise, but he seemed like he was very upset that she liked nice things.
His name is Brett. I don't think he can cook. I think he can heat things up. But people named Brett don't use
Can
seasoning.
he read?
People named Brett just don't use seasoning, so I don't think he can cook. But he could probably chef something up in the kitchen.
Yeah, like Sam said, I just want to see because just the whole issue of Olivia wants this lifestyle and Brett wants another lifestyle. Like I think Olivia is definitely in the right because like she's trying to elevate Brett, like I think Sabrina was saying, and Brett is kind of like, well, this is how I do things, but like you do things because you're limited, and Olivia's being able to be more free and have more fun because she has more money to do things.
Like energy around Olivia, and Olivia is not having it. Olivia said, I'm gonna get my nice wine, I'm gonna get my nice food, I'm gonna eat my caviar, I'm gonna be with my homegirls, and you're gonna accept it or you're gonna accept it. And that's on.
I think it's playing with his ego though, because he's not used to dating on that level because she has all her stuff together. She took that 3 years and got her stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I feel like he's not used to that. She's confident. She got friends outside of him. But she's always like, we'll make time for each other. But you can have your life. She's not going to be the type, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I think he needs a girl who's like lightweight jealous because he's still immature. He wants somebody who's going to be like, where you going? What you doing? To make him feel like he's important. Where she's like, let's be adults. You have your interests, I have mine. We come together, we have fun together. Then you go do your thing, I go do mine.
And she said, you have fun with all your animes. I'm going to go watch Married at First Sight with my family. But you have fun.
Time is very important.
It's like people. I feel like people think that if you're in a relationship, you have to do everything together. You have to have all the same interests. You have to have all the same likes, and that is just not realistic. And it's like, are you gonna have someone who could potentially be a great partner for you? Does it really matter that you have to go on hikes alone, or that you have to go on certain things alone because they don't want to go? Like you don't like yourself. I'll take myself out to dinner and be having a great time and be very entertained. Like, why do you have to go on hikes alone? Like, you don't like yourself? I'll take myself out to dinner and be having a great time and be very entertained. Like, why do you have to go on hikes alone? Like, you don't like yourself? I'll take myself out to dinner and be having a great time and be very entertained. Like, You don't like yourself at all?
I really do be entertaining myself. I will read
I
a
love cooking for myself.
commentary as I would be like, he did not say that. No, he did not.
I was watching the show and I was like, I was like, oh, I was having a great time by myself watching this episode. So I just don't understand why people feel like you have no yourself time because you married. It's dumb.
Look, first of all, I have more time watching it by myself because I can talk during the show without irritating somebody else. Because I'm always gonna have a comment. But some people be like, I'm trying to watch the show. Stop talking. It's like, I'm not about to sit here in silence and just watch this screen.
If you don't just turn on captions and deal with it. I'm gonna talk, just turn on captions and deal with it. Or pause it or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the type of person who wants to do everything with the person. I'm like, I'm gonna need my thing, and you need to find a thing for yourself so you can leave me alone and let me do my thing. Because I'm not trying to do everything together. Wait.
Shaddai, you're not trying to do nothing with nobody.
Hey.
Or anything together. Anything. Like everything.
Anything. We surprised you on the phone call right now.
Shaddai has okay. Let me tell y'all some background on Shaddai. So Shaddai don't talk to nobody. Shaddai be in his room. Shaddai don't want you to touch him. Shaddai don't want you to hug him. He don't want you to tell you that you love him. He want to be left alone. So we're even shocked that he's been on every single episode of 10 Talk. He be in our family group chat regulating, putting things together. He don't be playing no games. So we already know Shaddai ain't gonna be bothering no lady. He gonna be like, girl, you better have a life. You better worry about yourself.
I was surprised Shaddai knew my name. I was like, what? He knew my whole second letters. Wow.
Should I putting on her front for the media, okay? Because this is not the Shaddai that we.
I just want to. See, I don't know what my point was no more. I was so sorry. Yeah, all that we have to be together the whole time is toxic. Toxic. When Janae Aiko was like,
that's
you don't need no me time. That's you and me time. I'm like, no. I need just myself time. Not you, not my cousin, nobody. Get away.
I would like to say something.
Go on ahead then.
I've seen very many people go through relationships that fail very quickly because they're codependent on each other. And to me, when two people can't be alone, even like some people say together alone together, whatever. When two people who are together can't be alone, for me, it feels a lot like de-individuation. They kind of become like a hive mind, a little bit of a mob. They become like this blob thing together. And they lose sight of who they were, I feel like, before they met this person, which in most cases, these people aren't really even improving who you are. They're not making you better people. They're not bringing out the traits in you that are most conducive towards your growth. And that's something that I've noticed, and I definitely think that's happening here too. But I definitely am someone who, like, I can't be with someone who can't survive on their own. Like, I want someone who, like, wants me but doesn't need me, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to, like, want me to be around, want to go do stuff with me. But I need to know that, like, if I need to take a couple days, a week or so, and handle very personal things, that you will be all right. I don't need someone who's dependent on me. I don't like codependency. I feel like codependency isn't good for either one.
That's where communication comes into play too, and you have to have a partner who is receptive to your communication, because I've had probably more relationships than everybody. I know. But I've had relationships with somebody like wanted to be around me too much, and it was like the worst, because it's just, I'm not that type of person. So you can become very, very either insecure, or you can feel like I'm being sneaky, or, you know, it can play with people's mind because I wasn't very communicative with what I was doing. I wasn't like, I need this time because an introvert, or I need time to recharge, or this. So it would just like I would just go dead silent, and people would take that personally. And you have to realize that people take things personally if you don't communicate how you're feeling, so you kind of compromise, if that makes sense.
Even as young as I am, I've had that conversation with friends. Like, okay, so like you haven't talked to me in like a little while. It's like, you good? Are you okay? And it's just like, well, yeah, I just don't. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like, that's all I need. Like, I just need. It's like important to have that communication. And I think it's healthy to start making those types of relationships, and that even when you're younger, like to start when you're young, to start knowing how to have healthy relationships, even with friends.
Yeah, I think that's like a big thing. Like, cause in Ten Talk, it's 10 of us. I think everyone in our family each always wants some alone time. Like we crave that because we don't get it a lot, or we didn't get a lot growing up because there's so many people in the house. And it's like it's nothing personal. It's just I would just like to breathe my own air. And my best friend told me like he low key told me one time, he's like, look, bro, he's like, if you don't put in more effort into like keeping in contact, we're just not gonna have any contact and we're not gonna be friends because I'm tired of putting through all this effort. And so it also goes both ways. Like me as a person who's just like I don't check on people every day because I got too many people that rely on me already. Like I can't check on people every day. If you have a problem, you always know you can call me. I can't check on everybody. But you like even for me who doesn't do that, I had to hear my best friend and hear the way he's communicating. Like, no, bro, like that may not be who you are as a person, but that's what I need as a person. So if we're gonna be friends, we're gonna have to compromise it somehow. Like, I understand that you're not gonna call me or text me every single day, but I shouldn't go 4 months without hearing from you, and you my best friend.
And then it's also the idea of like, I shouldn't always be the first one to initiate the contact. You don't always want to be the first one to always call. Like, I have a friend, she's really, really busy. She's in a master's program. She's super, she works very hard. She's also an entrepreneur. So she's very, very busy. And I realized, like, even with her being busy, she was always hitting me first. And my excuse was, well, I know she's always super busy, so I don't want to bother her. So what I've had to sit back and realize now is like, no, let me be a better friend to her because she's a great friend to me. So let me just be cognizant that she might be busy and text her first, like, hey, can you FaceTime right now? I'm going to call you. Can you talk right now? Let's have a conversation. So that you are having that reciprocity in the relationship because it's important. And it's important to learn how to have healthy relationships with your friends because that's something that you need to carry into a relationship so you don't have that codependency or feeling like, oh, I can only do this with my partner. My partner's my only friend. My partner's the only person I can go do this with. Because if your partner don't like it, my homegirl gonna go do the thing with me and it's fine. You feel me? So it's
And
not a
please
problem.
take her. Please. Go have fun. Go have fun.
Wow.
Don't cut off
Before
that.
before this podcast, there was like a 9 month period when I did not text Lonnie back at all.
No, he for real has like there was like a whole literally since I've had a phone. He doesn't text me back. Like I never know if he reads my text. I would be like, I don't know if he ever saw that or what. Like I really was like, yep, no text from never ever.
I don't know if it's just me because I'm a big stickler on words and I'm 25 and people think that I'm 15 and it bothers me. But I really hate it when Brett called Olivia adorable. I just did not like it at all. Do not call your wife adorable. I didn't like it. So
I have no issues with that. I am 15 and I will call grown men who I've never met adorable. Like like celebrities. Like not
He's so adorable. Like, I'm a grown woman. Don't call me adorable.
it's not like he
I
said it
don't like
condescendingly. It's different if he would have said it condescendingly, but I think he was just saying like she's cute. Like
I
Right,
feel
I
like
totally
What do you
agree.
think,
I think
Scoop?
tone is everything with that. Because there's definitely someone who's like, oh, you're so cute. You're so precious. And you can tell that's like, it's almost like they just called you a curse word or something.
They said you're not ugly, but you're not attractive. So I don't know
I
what
feel
words to
like
use.
if you just met me and I'm your wife and you call me adorable, we might as well go ahead and file the paperwork now because I'm not nobody's adorable to my husband. Like, that's weird. That's super weird. That's a weird phrase. Like, call me pretty, call me attractive, call me Sabrina. Just don't call me adorable because then I'm going to have an attitude. I'll be like, who you talking to? I'm not adorable. I'm not cute.
And I would say adorable as a word, if I just think about just kind of like, well, like etymology, like word etymology, I think of it feels very much like you're not on equal footing anymore, even so. Because I think every time I think of the word adorable, I think of the word adore. So it's like, and every time I've heard the word adore, it's always like someone being put on this giant pedestal. It's like, oh, like, come let us adore you. It's kind of like you're up here, I'm down here in a way. And I know that's not necessarily what like y'all are getting at, but for me, that's my problem with the word when it's used. Because I feel like for me, it kind of like
Sharif.
superimposes some
Sharif.
sort of like
He
dynamic
said
Sharif.
the
that I
root
don't want to be a
word
part of.
is.
Sharif.
You know,
You know good and well. No. Hold on. Sharif know good and well Brett ain't on his level. Brett ain't thinking about no complex wordplay. He ain't thinking about no. I think Brett is very basic.
I just
Now
said it
you
was my
know.
opinion.
Yes, but you know Brett is very basic. Do not try to put you in Brett's place. You wouldn't call your new wife adorable, and you know it. Don't be trying to play us.
Yeah,
You don't try to stick up
right.
for Brett. Don't be Brett Hive. You don't want that life.
and if
No,
you
Brett is the
did call your
worst.
wife adorable, I would be all up in your butt talking about why did you tell that woman she was adorable? That is a grown woman. Do not play her. Because that's not okay.
I just want to know
I just
why
Period.
more
she
like
can't be adorable.
to use the word endearing. I think I'd be like, you're very endearing to me.
See, that's what I mean when I say when I say something like that. That's what I mean. Like wholesome, adorable, cute, endearing. All that stuff goes together for me, unless you're saying it in a
Yes.
condescending manner.
If Sharif calls anybody endearing, I will be at his throat. Stop saying words that other people don't know like that. Like you be thinking about it at a different level. Use basic words. You cute, you fly, you bad. Don't be talking about you endearing. You know,
I
you are
can't
very
call you.
you are very thought provoking. Sharif, I want you to stop. I want you to come back to our level.
Not thought provoking. Got it.
Sharif be trying to go deep. Sometimes we need that basic primal girl. You look good. Just you look
Girl, you look
good. That's
good.
you know,
That's the basic.
who
Like
said
adorable
endearing.
is just for kids. Like I do like it's just cause I see what Lacey's talking about. Like when someone calls you adorable, it's low key trying to like child you, like put you in a place to where it's like you're not important enough, old enough, mature enough, respected enough to be looked at as an actual like description of how you look. Because I can call a kid adorable and they can be ugly, but they're so cute because of their actions, like the way they ask questions, just how honest they are. That can be adorable, but I feel like when you call an adult adorable, it's like, okay, so like what's adorable? Like you gotta explain adorable. Like you can't just like
Yeah, and
it
it
doesn't
wouldn't
work.
make me feel like you it's not like a wife husband relationship. To me it's more like a a grown up child or two friends. Like, oh,
Inanimate
are that like
objects. Like, oh, that toy
yeah.
is adorable. Like
So it's like Boss Baby.
you wouldn't call
Boss
a boss
baby.
baby.
You know that movie?
No, Sharif. No.
Yeah, I know
Yes,
the
we
movie. What
do.
are you
Hi,
talking about?
continue.
No.
Sabrina's
Hold
mute.
on.
I'm
No, let me
confused.
explain. Let me explain that.
No, wait a minute. You ain't gonna explain nothing because if you ever say yo significant other is on the same level as Boss Baby, I will be at your door to tell her
That's not
to
what I'm saying.
divorce you
That's
immediately.
not what I'm saying.
I will be like Henry's family. You can have
That's
him.
not.
We'll keep you because he called you adorable, and we understand. Girl, no.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the reason why people don't like the term is because it's essentially like the movie Boss Baby. It's essentially like a little kid trying to play a grown up position in the world, whereas it's like dehumanizing the wrong word, but it's infantilizing. That's what I was trying to get at.
Sharif, I'm gonna need you to use words that I know because first of all,
Yeah.
Lacey always goes with that reciprocate word that I can't pronounce. My tongue.
What?
You can't say reciprocate.
I just said
I'm gonna
reciprocate. It's the other one. It's the word that you and Sharif both use.
Reciprocity?
Yes, that's too many weird sounds that my tongue can do.
Reciprocity.
I'm not even going to attempt to say the words because I think I'm gonna sound stupid trying to get it out of my mouth. So I'm just going to try.
Anyways, don't be calling your wife adorable. That was not cute. It was super whack. And if he would have, when they had an argument, if he would have called her adorable during that argument, oh, that would have been World War
I
III.
think
And that's
you
what I would do.
told.
I'm like, oh, you're so adorable when you're mad.
No, because Dad used to always say that. And I would be upset. I'd be like, if you don't, I'm upset.
I'm not adorable. I will literally take something and hit you with
legit,
it.
no one thing. Literally today, I was talking to a friend, and she wanted to come at me because I'm short, and I came at her, and she was like, I'm like, don't listen, just because I'm all cute and short, that don't mean I will not. I will come for your neck.
She said, don't go there. Like, don't bring this person out of me. Don't
She
bring
was
this person out of me.
speechless, bruh.
I don't want to
Speechless.
be that person,
Question,
but I can be that person.
Thank you. Let's move on to them rating the marriages and the fact that they were literally 2 inches away from each other while they were waiting.
Right? I don't know why did y'all think that was a good idea? I feel like the producers told them to do that.
Yes.
There is no way they both decided to rate the marriage at that same. There's no way. The producers were like, so what do you guys rate your marriages? That's what happened.
No, that's not what happened. What happened is they was all sitting in that same room doing nothing. The producers was like, we are wasting film. And they was like, you guys, I think we need to create a scene here. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and ask everyone else to rate their marriages. And then we'll just record you guys interacting with that. All right, sounds cool? All right, 5, 4, action.
And I feel like everyone was really on Brett for not wanting to rate his marriage. Like that was like y'all was really upset over that, and I don't see why. Like I don't see it.
Okay. So when Stefan is on YouTube and he's in the comment section, he's probably gonna have a heart attack. But I personally hate.
No, stop.
When
What are you doing? Wait. Hold on.
I hate when people try to put arbitrary numbers on something as complex as a relationship. I think it's super stupid. I think it's very dumb. I don't think you should relationship.
I feel like arbitrary numbers on everything.
I feel like if you're sitting down with your partner and you're like checking in and you're like, okay, how are we doing with our communication? How are we doing with, how we're balancing household duties? I feel like that's productive. But I feel like to put this a random rating on a marriage is super dumb. So I actually agree with Brett on that. Did I agree with his attitude? No. But I agreed with the premise of why he didn't want to do it. Sabrina?
And like we were even talking.
The premise was a whole lie because later he admitted that the only reason he said that is because he was in his feelings.
He said that before.
I feel like if it's a game, but also I feel like because it's a game and everybody did that, and after everybody rated it, then you said it was dumb. Then you are just calling everybody in like your like group dumb. Yeah. Thank you. So you're just, I was like, in your circumference, like, what is it? What am I trying to say? I don't want to say big words. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Big words. I'm like, what is the small word? What is the small word?
I was like, I'm trying to sound smart, but it didn't come out. So I'm like, everybody in the group said a number. So you could just play along, give an arbitrary number, give a simple explanation.
I
But then
mean,
you can
Bennett
also
did.
say, yeah, because Bennett also said you can't quantify love. But if I had to,
Yeah.
I would say it's a 10 because I'm having a really good time.
But
So-
I want to move on from this point. And I want to go into the only thing that is entertaining about Christina and the other guy, Henry, and that's when they're commenting on other people.
Luke.
And I just feel like they are so invested in everybody else's relationship. And I personally did not like the way that Christina pulled Olivia to the side and the way she was talking to her about her feelings around Brett. I feel like she did it in a very poor way. And I just want to know what everybody else thinks about that.
Christina is very preoccupied with the comings and goings of the other couple's relationships, when she should be more preoccupied with her comings and goings.
That was very that was very PG, but extremely hilarious. That's like Disney PG. That is a Disney movie PG because it's like adults will catch it, but kids will miss it.
Yeah. Bro, I also wrote maybe her and Henry combined over how much they hate Brett.
The enemy of your enemy is your fan.
So I honestly think though Christina is bored with Bland. That's his new name, Bland. His name's Bland. Christina is bored with Bland, and so since Christina is bored with Bland, she's trying to create excitement. And what's exciting? Drama. So she gonna create a little drama.
So I want to talk about again how Amani is just a girl's girl, and the way she talked about Olivia compared to the way that Christina talked to Olivia. So Shaddai and Sharif Screen, what do you guys think about the way that Christina approached when she was talking about her concerns about Brett?
Yeah, I think Christina was definitely trying to like create drama or like stir something up, because like we have all said, Henry extremely boring, and she needs something to fulfill anything in her life.
He's not even boring. He's bland.
He's just no. He's not even bland. He's wrong.
He's not even boring. Because boring is at least it's something. He's literally nothing. He's just there.
He's not even bland. He's wrong.
Bland.
He ain't even cooked yet. You know, it's like you trying to get.
Ain't even seasoned yet.
You just ain't got. It's just he just ain't got it. But I agree with Di that I think that he was. I think that she was doing the most, and I don't really think that it was more so like, oh, I'm trying to stir up drama. I think it's one of those things where she's like, man, y'all actually kind of like each other, at least a little bit.
Right. Right. She's a hater. It's like I'm your friend, but I'm a hater.
That's how this works.
She one of them people that's like, I want you to be happy, just not happier than me though. I want you to get a new job, just not one that's better than mine. I like to see you in a new car, but not one that's newer than mine.
Ooh. Well.
You're gonna praise dance or what?
Let the church say amen.
No. Let the church say amen. God is so
amen. Anywho.
Hey. I agree with that point, Sharif, 1,000%. Okay, so we don't need a separate video for this because it wasn't that much. But I did let Lonnie and Shaddai to close their ears. When Woody brought out the rose petals and he was ready to get it chef hopping, I was at the screen screaming. I was so excited for them.
That's because you
I was so
you just nasty.
Imani about to give up that whop.
Bye, Lonnie.
Lonnie, log off.
Love you.
Get off the camera. Get off the camera.